Hello and welcome to the second part of Jack the Ripper, The Suspects. In this episode we will be talking about Aaron Kosminski. Aaron Kosminski was born on the 11th of September 1865 in Kłodawa in Poland to parents Abraham Joseph Kosminski and his wife Golda. In Poland his father worked hard as a tailor, providing everything he could so that the Kosminski family could have a better life. Aaron left Poland with his sister's family between 1880 and 1881. They first settled down in Germany, where his other sister had given birth to two children. Between 1881 and 1882, the family in Germany decided to pack up their belongings and move to England, where they could settle down in London. At some point on his travels, his mother Golda moved with them. Now living in Whitechapel, London, Kosminski took up the occupation of being a local barber, and he worked in several barber shops in that area. Whitechapel was full of people who had immigrated, especially from Ireland, France and Poland. Unfortunately, Aaron Kosminski suffered from mental health problems, which appeared to get worse slowly over time. He couldn't carry on with his job and he had to give it up, and he was still living with his family at this point. On the 12th of July 1890, his brother Wolf decided to take Kosminski to the Mile End workhouse to try and get him the help he needed. Only 3 days later he was released and was sent back home. But again he was returned to the workhouse on the 4th of February 1891, but this time he was transferred to Colney Hatch Lunatic Asylum. The reasons why he was placed into an asylum was because he was threatening his sister with a knife. Kosminski stayed in Colney Hatch Asylum for 3 years until he was transferred to Leavenworth Asylum on the 19th of April 1894. Aaron Kosminski stayed locked up in an asylum until he died in March 1919 at the age of 53. Why was he a Ripper suspect? Number 1. Sir Melvin Macnaghten stated Kosminski had a great hatred of women and he had strong homicidal tendencies. Number 2. Sir Robert Anderson, who was the Assistant Police Commissioner at the time of the Ripper murders, wrote in his memoirs, The Lighter Side of My Official Life, that the Ripper was a low-class Polish Jew who had been committed to an asylum where he died a short time later. Number 3. Aaron Kosminski is claimed to have lived with his family on either Providence Street or Greenfield Street. Both are in close proximity to the crime scenes. Number 4. He may have suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. Why was he not Jack the Ripper? Number 1. While placed in the asylum, Kosminski was considered harmless to the people around him. Number 2, he spoke his original language, which was Yiddish, so having a conversation with a victim and to get them to go into a dark corner or alleyways with them was pretty much out of the question. Number 3, an author named Russell Edwards came across a shawl that Catherine Eddowes had worn at the time of her murder. After DNA analysts failed, they managed to get some mitochondrial DNA, which supposedly matched a relative of Eddowes and Kosminski. However, a former City of London police officer named Donald Rumbledore stated that the shawl was not listed with Catherine Eddowes' belongings on the night she was murdered. Do I think Aaron Kosminski is Jack the Ripper? According to the evidence, it is obvious that Kosminski was an unwell man. However, he was only known to act out in violence twice. The first was the knife incident with his sister, and the second time was in an asylum where he threw a chair at someone. No, I do not think he is Jack the Ripper. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. To read more about the Jack the Ripper case, buy my book In the Footsteps of Jack the Ripper on Amazon. The link is in the description.